Have you ever heard the phrase, "I've just had a wake-up call"? What does that actually mean to you? It can mean a number of things to different people according to the experiences they've had at that time. I just want to share a little journey that I've been on where I've had a wake-up call, and maybe what you hear today might benefit you in some shape or form, or you might pick out a nugget that might be able to help you to say to yourself, there was a good learning in that for me. I was on my travelling journeys in Thailand, and I was on a motorbike. I've never rode a motorbike in Thailand before, and this was my first time. And all I had at that time was my flip-flops, shorts and a vest. No crash helmet, and nothing to protect my bones, like my elbows or my knees, if I came off the motorbike. I was going up this mountain, and then I started to slip on the gravel as I was going around. I was going a little bit too fast. Usually on the mountains they have a barrier on the end where it'll stop anyone from going over and killing themselves. But in this time there was no barrier. I was quite lucky, to be honest with you, otherwise I wouldn't be talking to you today right now. What happened is, as I was slipping, I lost control of the bike, and another bike I hit head on. I came off the bike, I was totally dazed, didn't know what was going on, and I was lying in the middle of the road, and as I was coming around I saw this bright light, and this bright light was a bit foggy, and as it came towards me, what happened is it started becoming a lot sharper. All of a sudden I had this experience of floating above the ground and moving to my right hand side and then coming back down again. So you might be thinking to yourself, what was this bright light Hitesh saw? I'll tell you what it was. You'll laugh in a second. As I saw this bright light, it changed from 1 into 2, and it was a car. If the car had hit me, I wouldn't be speaking to you today. But I was very lucky. I was riding the bike with 2 other guys from Greece. They saw me fall off the bike and have this accident, so they came back and they actually picked me up out of the road and moved me to the side in a safe space. As you can see, my mind was playing all sorts of tricks with me at that time, and I was hallucinating and I wasn't quite sure where I was, totally disorientated. And as I came down, I looked at my hand, and my hand was red. It was covered in red. And I was like, okay, that's quite a big, deep cut that I've got on my hand, and I could actually see my bone when I sort of pulled the skin apart. So sorry about this if you're queasy. And it was like a thick syrup that was dripping from my hand of red. And that just made me literally faint. I lost consciousness. And then when I came around again, next thing I knew, I was in a Thai taxi. They couldn't get the ambulance up to the mountain because of where it was, so someone had to order a taxi. And with the taxi, they have benches facing each other, and I was sitting at one corner, and then as I looked down at the ground was red. And I was thinking, oh God, I hope that's not my blood. I followed this trail of red blood, and in the corner opposite to me, there was a foot. I looked at the foot, and I followed it up, and it was a Thai gentleman sitting in the same taxi as me. And then it clicked to me that this was the person that I had an accident with. As we were rushed down to the hospital, we were both put on stretchers. All the Thai doctors came in, and they were talking to each other, and then one person had to make a decision on who to take out of me or this other gentleman into surgery, I suppose. And they chose him. And I felt rejected. I was in a foreign country. I felt like they're taking care of somebody else because I'm a foreigner. And that didn't make me feel very good. But then I realised afterwards that it wasn't that. So your mind plays a lot of tricks on you when you're in a vulnerable position. And he was in a more critical condition than I was. So they had to make a quick judgment call on who to take first. And they took him. After he came out, I realised I went to visit him in his hospital bed, and with all his family around there. That was the worst feeling I had ever. I went into there, everyone looked at me as if I was the devil, because he had broken his ankle. And for me, I came out with hardly any scratches. Apart from my back, the skin was scraped, and what had happened there, it took some time to heal up. You know, I had a few cuts and bruises on my arms and hands and knees, but I was pretty much okay. I was limping for a couple of days, but, you know, it could all be mended. And I felt such a such a feeling of remorse and saying to myself, I wish I never done this to this gentleman because he had a family. But I didn't actually look at myself at the time. I didn't value myself at the time. I walked out of there. A policeman came to me and he said to me, we need your passport. And I was like, I haven't got my passport on me. He goes, well, we need your passport because we don't want you to run away. And I looked at him and I said, look, I'm all bandaged up. Do you think I'm running anywhere? He goes to me, you've got a choice. You can either come with me to the prison cell and stay there for the night, or you can go back to your hotel and the first thing in the morning you need to come back here. And I thought to myself, okay, it's a good choice, prison cell or a hotel. So I decided to go back to the hotel. When I came back the next day, I gave the policeman the passport and I had to give him quite a large amount of baht, Thai currency there. I didn't know what to do because that was my contingency plan. And I could either go back home and not carry on with this trip, or I could heal myself, pick myself up again and say, no, I'm going to finish this trip because I was only 3 months into my trip and I planned the trip for 2 years. So I was thinking to myself, what do I do? And I decided to continue the trip. And like with business, you'll always have decisions to make, and depending on what decision you make, it will make or break you. So that is my tip for today, and I hope that benefits you in some shape or form. If you can do me 2 small favors, one is to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and the other one is if you've had a friend or work colleague who might be going through a situation like this, where they've seemed to have a wake-up call and they're not quite sure what to do. Again, like I say with everything, please can you share this video with them and maybe get them to subscribe as well, and maybe something can benefit them. They've got to all do it from the heart. So don't forget to have the time of your life.